today. And we should probably also do introductions. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm Ashley Breyers, Transportation Planner, and Jessica, I could not get to the email to read that, so.
Oh, okay, I'll read it. We will start with the ground rules today, and in lieu of having a chair yet appointed, we will be facilitating this part until we get to that item. Good afternoon. Welcome to the February 18th, 2021 Metropolitan Planning Organization Policy Board. My name is Jessica Mortinger, and with Ashley Breyers on video, we will be facilitating the Zoom portion of today's meeting. Currently, I have everyone muted so we can talk through the general ground rules for today's meeting. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live on the city's YouTube channel. During the meeting, please mute yourself by clicking on the microphone icon found on the lower left-hand corner of the Zoom menu next to the video icon. When you are muted, a red line will appear over your icon. This will make it easier for everyone to hear the meeting. Just remember to unmute if and when you want to speak. In the menu, you can also turn your camera on or off by clicking the video icon located next to the microphone icon. For the purpose of this public meeting, please keep your video on for the duration. If you're participating by phone, you can enter *6 to mute and unmute your phone. Somewhere on your Zoom screen, you will also see a choice to toggle between speaker and gallery view. Speaker view shows the active speaker, gallery view tiles all meeting participants. A few reminders to ensure that the provisions of the Kansas Open Meeting Act are met. As participants, you must state your name and title each time you speak. Individuals who are signed up in advance to provide public comment remotely will be called upon by name. No one has signed up today. And Ashley, no one is in person. Okay. She's confirming with a shake of the head no. When you're on the call, we will inform people how to do that if they do come in person and follow all social distancing and safety protocols if people show up in person. All motions need to be stated clearly. After a motion is made and seconded, staff will call on each member individually to provide their vote. Staff will then need to announce whether the motion carried and the count of the vote. I want to again remind everyone to mute yourself when you're not speaking, and now I'll turn it back over to Ashley and we can start introductions.
All right. Thank you. Again, my name is Ashley Breyers, Transportation Planner, and so I think I'll just say your first name and then you can say what organization you're with, and yeah, that'll be a good way to do it. So, Courtney?
Courtney Shibley, Vice Mayor, City of Lawrence.
Brad?
Brad Finkeldye, current mayor of the City of Lawrence.
Eric? Oh, you're, there you go.
Eric Struckoff, Lawrence Douglas County Planning Commission.
Allison?
Allison Smith, KDOT, and for Matt Messina.
And Jeff?
Hi, Jeff Craig, Planning and Development Services.
And then we have Rob?
Bob Sands, Lawrence Douglas County Planning Commission.
And Barbara from Federal Highways?
Yes, Barbara Maley, Federal Highways.
Thank you for being here. All right, so then we'll receive public comment, but we don't have any. So we'll move on to minutes. Again, we don't have a chair yet, so hopefully everybody's had a chance to review all of the minutes and we could have a motion.
Brad Finkeldye, so moved.
Thank you. A second?
Vice Mayor Shibley, second.
Thank you. And then I'll turn it over to Jessica to do roll call vote.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll proceed by alphabetical order of last name to do roll call vote. Kramer? Finkeldye?
Aye.
Sands?
Aye.
Shipley?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
And Struckoff.
Abstain, as I was absent.
Okay. Motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention.
Right. Thank you. So Ashley Breyers, Transportation Planner. So now we need to move on to the election of the chair and vice chair for 2021. Anybody have any feelings about wanting to be chair? Or not, I guess?
Vice Mayor Shibley, if I'm allowed, while there's no chair, to ask Eric Struckoff if he's at all interested.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Shibley. I would be inclined to serve as chair. However, my term on the Planning Commission will be ending in June, and therefore my appointment to this board will also be ending. I am still willing to do it, but I'll be gone soon.
Courtney, that means you get to do it. You need the practice for next year anyway, right? Can't hear you, so you can't.
Yes, I need the practice. You're right.
So is that a motion from
So-
Brad?
I moved. Yes, so moved.
And then a second? So Eric is.
Second.
Oh, Rob has seconded. So then Jessica, could you do a roll call vote for Courtney being chair?
Yes, we'll proceed to do that. Finkeldye?
Aye.
Sands?
Aye.
Shipley?
I?
Smith?
Aye.
And Struckoff?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Now we get to look for a vice chair.
Yeah.
Courtney, would you like to take over at this point?
Sure. Commissioner, or Vice Mayor Shipley, I'll give it a go. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
Well, since I think Rob has to leave the planning commission as well as Eric, so I guess I can be vice chair. If anyone wants me to be.
Yeah. Vice Mayor Shipley, I'm willing to nominate you, Mayor, if you're willing to have the post.
I'll second that. Eric Struckoff, Planning Commissioner.
Moved and seconded. Okay, so I guess now can I ask Jessica to do the roll?
Yeah, Jessica Morton, your Transportation Planning Manager. I'll proceed to do a roll call vote. Finkeldye?
Aye.
Sands?
Aye.
Shipley?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
And Struckoff?
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0. Thank you all in advance for your service this year.
I'm up here while we were talking. While I do that, if you don't mind for just a sec, just call the first thing while I get that all pulled up.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, nope. There we go. All right. Action. All right. Oh, sorry, everyone. Thanks for that moment there. Let's move to the next item on the agenda, which I gather will be Jessica Mortinger speaking for us.
Maybe. Yes. Okay. Today we have in front of you for your consideration an amendment to Transportation 2040. This amendment was requested by KDOT based on the inclusion of two projects in the Eisenhower Legacy Transportation (EIC) development project pipeline. And so we'll go through and we'll talk about this amendment and kind of explain that process, and then we'll be looking for your consideration to approve this amendment. The amendment was requested because one project, the K10 US 40 interchange improvement of a diverging diamond interchange, is currently in T2040, but it's on the illustrative project list, which is the list where we put projects that are desired in the region, but are not, do not fit within the fiscal constraint model. And then there's also a new project, the reconstruction of US 56, that has been identified by the state and was one of the highest rated safety projects. And so, or for modernization. And so we'll talk about that also. You can see here where those projects are located throughout Douglas County, the 56 down feeding into Baldwin off of 59, and the interchange at K10 US 40. The diverging diamond change, which is proposed as a safety improvement to the current interchange configuration at US 10 and US 40, you can see here how the proposed diverging diamond, based on both Missouri and federal highways examples, their graphics, show how these remove crossing, merging, and diverging points to reduce conflict points. And that is something that we felt, or that KDOT felt was needed and desired based on some of the crash data, and we have that to show you in the slides. We feel this project fits within the framework of T2040. As we mentioned before, it was already identified in the plan, but just on the illustrative project list. So we believe it meets these goals and objectives in the plan, and we kind of justify how in terms of moving people efficiently, providing access and choice, especially with future land use west of K10 and identified in the sector plan. It will accommodate bike ped infrastructure, and it will be huge safety improvements, especially with future traffic planned in this region. Here kind of shows you a heat density map and the crash history since the improvements that have been made out there. So you can tell there's still crashes happening in this area, and it's going to be a big safety improvement, particularly prior to future planned projects of widening K10 that will definitely be necessary to improve the safety of this interchange. The US 56 reconstruction project, I mentioned safety, but it was the highest rated modernization project based on safety, geometric improvements, and pavement condition. And so adding those acceleration and deceleration lanes will improve safety, and also increasing the shoulder width from 4 foot to 10 foot will provide additional coverage space for all roadway users to correct and have space on the road. And so that's going to be a high value project for Douglas County. Here you can see the density and the crash history that's happened in the last 5 years on this section of the corridor. And so you can see that we also have crash history here that this project can hopefully alleviate some of. The K10 US 40 project, this is the table, the budget that we're looking at that will also be part of the TIP amendment today. You can see there's a few sections of that we've said have not yet been authorized. So approving this project today and amending it into the plan will be all that's needed to do for the plan. However, the TIP amendment is only the beginning that you'll see in a little bit, and there will need to be future TIP amendments when construction funding is approved for this project. It has not yet been authorized. So the new Ike pipeline project really gets projects ready in a pipeline, and it works through that process. And so this is the first step in that process to ensure that the PE right-of-way and utility work can proceed. Here's the project budget for the US 56 reconstruction, and you can see this project also has some unauthorized phases. So this is a total project estimate. All that's going to be amended into the TIP in a minute is going to be PE, and so right-of-way utilities and any future construction funding would require future TIP amendments. And we've noted that, but you can see these are significant investments in transportation in Douglas County. So this amendment is required because before KDOT can proceed to spend money on these phases of the projects, they need to be consistent and incorporated into T2040 in our fiscally constrained project list. And so this amendment does that. Once we finalize this amendment, then those projects go into the TIP. And then once they're in the TIP, KDOT can begin to proceed putting them in the pipeline and getting them in the process. We issued a 30-day public comment period for this proposed amendment and made online and paper versions available. We received one public comment from Baldwin City during the phase, and we forwarded it to KDOT because it was a conversation about the design of the specific project, which will need to be coordinated with KDOT. And so we received no other comments in that, and TAC unanimously recommended approval at their February 2nd meeting. And that's what I have for you today. I'd be happy to entertain any questions or comments you might have about our proposed amendment.
Jessica, I have a quick question.
Yes.
What is the expected reduction in accident rates with the Diamond Lane configuration?
I don't have that exact statistic off the top of my head. Ashley, do you recall if they addressed that in the Ike proposal?
Ashley Bryce, transportation planner. I don't think they've said it yet. I think they are aware that it will reduce it, but I don't know if they have the exact numbers.
Or if they do, it's not something they put in their pipeline. I was going to look at the documentation that KDOT provided us.
Yeah.
There are some statistics.
I do know one piece of trivia that intersections have 32 conflict points. And
So
so
this will be have a lot fewer conflict points, so it'll be safer.
Yeah, I'm not saying that a reduction of percentage points in teams is going to affect my support of this project by any means. I think traffic circles and roundabouts are a 17% reduction, and then some other significant percent reduction of serious and fatal accidents. It's a question out of curiosity. So if you don't have the number in front of you, I'm good.
We don't, but we can reach out and ask KDOT and follow up for sure.
Well, it'll also be helpful when my neighbors ask me, why'd you vote for a Diamond Lane thing? Because as much as traffic circles and roundabouts are disliked, I can foresee a lot of people are going to have an emotional response to the Diamond Lane configuration.
Okay, I got a fact for you, Rob. In a national study, the designs of it looks like after they constructed diverging diamond interchanges, an average of 37% was crash reduction. The design also reduced injury and fatal crashes on an average of 54% in the 2019 article published by the Transportation Research Board for the Journal of Transportation Research.
Awesome.
That seems pretty compelling.
It's great news.
Vice Mayor Shipley, great question, Rob. Is there anyone else that has any questions for Jessica? Not seeing any. Jessica and Ashley, is there anybody there that wants to make public comment? Or
Nope.
Anyone on the line?
No.
Again, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to accept. Eric Struckoff?
I move that we approve the Transportation 2040 Amendment 1.
Mayor Finkel, second.
Singer first and second. Jessica, can you do the roll for me?
Yeah, Jessica Morton, your Transportation Planning Manager. I'll proceed with the roll call vote. Finkeldye?
Aye.
Sands?
Aye.
Shipley?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Struckoff?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Vice Mayor Shipley, excellent. Let's move on to the third item, the Federal Fiscal Year 2021 to 24 TIP Improvement Amendment. I'm going to imagine that is Jessica also.
Ashley gets
Sorry,
that one.
Ashley. Oh, hey.
That's okay. Ashley Bryers, transportation planner. I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I see. Okay. There we go. Woo. Okay. Again, my name is Ashley Briers, Transportation Planner, and this is for the Transportation Improvement Program Amendment 1. The Transportation Improvement Program, or the TIP as it's called, is the implementation arm of the Long Range Transportation Plan. So the Long Range Transportation Plan is T2040, or Transportation 2040, and that sets the big vision for transportation in Lawrence and Douglas County. And then the TIP actually has the projects that are happening in the next 4 years, projects that have funding associated with them. And in order for projects that have federal or state funding or are regionally significant, in order for them to proceed, they need to be in this document and then be consistent with Transportation 2040, which is why we did that amendment. So this TIP amendment is our first scheduled one. We created this brand new TIP for fiscal year 2021 in October, and then we do quarterly amendments. And so this amendment includes the 2 projects that were just amended into Transportation 2040. And as Jessica mentioned, we will have to do future TIP amendments once the state is ready to actually put funding towards construction and for the 142. And then 143 will need to have a future TIP amendment to do utilities and right-of-way as well as construction. And then the other 3 projects on there are also KDOT projects, and those are just revisions in order to adjust the project to what they need now in the project, because before KDOT wasn't exactly sure where the funding levels needed to be. And so as they're moving forward with different projects, they're realizing what the levels need to be. This TIP amendment had a public comment period, 15 days as required by our public participation plan, and we did not receive any comments. And this TIP amendment also includes the transit safety measures. They were included as part of this amendment, and we'll be talking about those in the next agenda item about performance measures, but just wanted to mention to you that we're getting them into this TIP along with all the other performance measures that were already in there, because it all is tied together. The TAC recommended approval at their meeting, and I guess let me know if you have any questions. So I'm going to stop sharing. I can always reshare if you want to look at anything in particular.
Vice Mayor Shipley, are there any questions that I just can't see your hands? Seeing none, you must have done a really good job. Is there anyone there or on the line that is here for public comment?
Nope.
Vice Mayor Shipley, thank you. Again, I would entertain a motion. Commissioner Struckoff?
I move that we approve the fiscal year 2021 to 24 TIP Amendment 1.
Mayor Finkel, aye, second.
We have a first and a second. Jessica, can you do the roll for us?
Yeah, Jessica Martinger, Transportation Planning Manager, will proceed with a roll call vote. Finkeldye?
Aye.
Sands?
Aye.
Shipley?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Struckoff?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0.
Vice Mayor Shipley, thank you. Again, we're clipping along here. Yeah, Ashley, thank you. Item number 4, performance measures 1, 2, and 3, 20 data update and inclusion of transit safety measures.
And that's me again.
So Ashley Briers, Transportation Planner. Let me share my screen again. Oh, I shared the wrong one. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then I'm in the wrong tab. Okay. So, Ashley Breyers, Transportation Planner. As part of Transportation 2040, we included 26 performance measures. About, I think, 14 of them maybe were federally required, and then the other ones were locally developed and included because we wanted to track this data. When we developed Transportation 2040, we envisioned doing a once-a-year annual report about all the data, and then we realized that the data has a lot of different timelines, and trying to sync it up so it was just one report a year was not possible. And so we've started doing these updates when data is available, and this is our next batch of data updates. And all of these, except for one, are just local measures, so there are no targets associated with them. And so the first one is the percentage of people who have access within a quarter mile to the level of comfort 3 or below bikeway network. And that matches the Lawrence Bikes performance measure about access to the level of comfort 3 or below bikeways. And so we have numbers here from 2019 to 2020. We developed a model a GIS model in order to gather the data. And one thing is the environmental justice zones, or EJ zones here, which are low-income or minority areas, change when new data is available. And so that's part of the reason why there's a big difference here between 19 and 20. And we've developed some maps here. So if you go here, you can look at the different environmental justice zones. And there's an interactive map that's part of the tip, and then you can look at each of the years where the data is. So this is the bikeway one, and we anticipate doing this every year. And then we have percentage of public streets with sidewalks on at least one side. And for this one, we have 2017 through 2020 data. And again, EJ changed again, so that's why there's the big difference there. And we anticipate doing this one yearly. We have percentage of public streets with bikeway network. And we have 19 and 20 for this. And anticipate doing this yearly as well. And then we have the percentage of pavement on National Highway System, which is NHS, major roads, collector and above, in good and poor condition. And so this is not one of the federal ones, because one of the federal measures that we have is on the interstate or on the National Highway System. So this is a local measure, and so we have data for Lawrence, Eudora, and Douglas County. And we had prior data for Lawrence, but the city of Lawrence decided to collect their data differently, and so we realized that we couldn't compare them because it was just completely different ways of looking at the data. So we have this one data point for Lawrence right now, but in the future it's going to be done the same, I believe, so then we'll be able to compare going forward. And then we have the percentage and then the total miles underneath it. We'll do this one yearly, hopefully, if data's available. And then we have poor as well. And Douglas County didn't have any poor miles. That's why it goes down like that in 15 and 16. And we'll do this one yearly. And then this is one more federal performance measure that we were informed needed to be included with all of our performance measures. So rather than having 26 performance measures, now we have 27. And this measure came from the state-sponsored agency safety plan that Lawrence Transit and KDOT did, which was actually approved by the Lawrence City Commission in August. And all of the ones except for this last one, the system reliability, are from the state measures. And then system reliability is one target that Lawrence Transit set because it was a bit more localized and have more control over that. And so vehicle revenue miles is a very specific term, but it's miles driven when a vehicle is operating and available for the public to ride on. So not the miles when it's like just deadheading back to the garage or something like that. So this one has a target, again, and we plan to update this yearly. So this is the last of the measures. Any questions about any of the measures? And also TAC recommended approval at their meeting a couple weeks ago. So I'll stop sharing again, and then if you want to see something specifically, I'll pull it up.
Vice Mayor Shipley, any questions out there? Commissioner Struckoff?
Planning Commissioner Eric Struckoff. Actually, I was curious about the good, poor rating for the road services. Are those the only two ratings? Is it a binary? You're either good or poor?
Ashley Breyers, Transportation Planner. It depends on the jurisdiction. So Douglas County has fair also. I think Lawrence does just have poor and good. Okay. Or satisfactory and not satisfactory is the terms they're using. I believe Eudora might just be poor and good also. And so that was part of our development of this, is we had to understand that each of the locations categorize their numbers, their pavements differently, and so we can't compare them to each other. They're each localized.
Sure, thank you.
Vice Mayor Shipley, anyone else? Rob, I can't see your hands, though.
No, I'm good.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. When or do you present this to multimodal or PTAC, kind of the way you have to us, or is it just given to staff to use?
Sure.
So Jessica Morton, your Transportation Planning Manager. Specifically with many of the transit components, PTAC has weighed in on the individual elements. So for example, with the measure around the inclusion of the transit safety measures, they receive that information. And then of course this report could be made available to them. For Multimodal Transportation Commission, many of the measures that we use and report data on, because we're the agency and kind of group that's doing that, is used also like in the Complete Streets annual reporting that Multimodal Transportation Commission is doing, that they're waiting for us to report data and using that kind of as the framework that they're verifying for their performance indicators also for that. And this report is shared in the staff updates with that group also for Multimodal Transportation Commission. But that's how it's currently shared. And of course, this is reported online, and we have maps that accompany all of this data that are, and we're still in the infancy of this, I think, even for, having T2040 and having the first plan with performance reporting and performance-based planning, that you can see we're still trying to move around on some of the kinks of trying to figure out, is that the right measure? And as we've done some more specific planning, we've adjusted some of those measures. We are also obviously in the city's development of key performance indicators for the strategic plan, have been participating on staff development of stuff under strategic plan. And so there's been some advocating for and sharing of information related to the data and performance reporting that we do. So I would anticipate that some of the measures will be different, and obviously, but some of them will be the same, and just probably not all of the stuff that we report on will be tied back to that plan. So you can, as you see some of that, I assume that's kind of where you were going in terms of thinking about data, and as you see some of that, don't be surprised if it's similar measures.
Vice Mayor Shipley, great. Thank you very much. I think that's all questions. Is there any public comment?
No.
Vice Mayor Shipley, then unless there's any other discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor Finkel, I would move to approve the updated performance measures 1, 2, 3, 20, and 27.
Vice Mayor Shipley, I'll second. Why not? Jessica, can you do the roll for us?
Jessica Mortinger, Transportation Planning Manager, will proceed with the roll call vote. Finkeldye?
Aye.
Sands?
Aye.
Shipley?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Struckoff?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Great. Thank you very much for all that hard work. Everyone loves data. Let's see, where are we at? Wow. Updates. I'm up to Ashley. Or are you? Okay, Jessica.
Jessica Mortinger, Transportation Planning Manager. We've included a few quick updates for you, including we have completed the approvals or receiving of all the Safe Routes to School plans in Lawrence, Eudora, and Baldwin City at all of the commissions and councils and the school boards. And so we are proceeding now with working on some of the implementation recommendations, particularly around mapping. Although Lawrence, there's some specific other work going on around an MOU between the city and the school district and a school area traffic control policy. And so that will be kind of ongoing work related to safe routes. We have began gathering and sent an invite to collect some dates for the Intelligent Transportation Systems Architecture Plan update. And so that will be probably a pretty technical update, working with staff to figure out, how the fiber projects and all the other intelligent transportation signal coordination, traveler information what has been updated and implemented since the last plan, and figuring out what other things need to be identified in the plan. And then kind of once we do that, we'll figure out what that's going to look like in terms of how much engagement we need, I think, with the public, depending on how much change we see in kind of what's already in the plan. We envision this more as a minor update, though. And then the transit route redesign, we've gotten almost all the appointments to that from all of the positions on that committee. And we are in the process in negotiating an agreement with the firm that has been chosen. And that is, we're waiting for final KDOT approval, and then that will go to the Lawrence City Commission. And then we can begin, hopefully, that process by March. We also have attached the link to the KDOT monthly updates. Allison, if you have anything specifically you wanted to mention off of that list, we can open it up to that. Otherwise, it's available for anybody who wanted to view that.
I don't.
Okay.
Are you going to cover the announcement today?
Yes, so I will. I don't even think that's in your update yet, but we also have included.
It is not.
Yeah, so we've also included recent TAC minutes. We can also announce that every city in our region in Douglas County received a Transportation and Alternatives Award today. So Lecompton, Baldwin City, Eudora, and Lawrence all received funding for a project that they requested funding to KDOT. And that'll be very exciting. We'll see that in future TIP amendments as we program that funding. But that's really, really exciting to see implementation happening of our bike ped plans across Douglas County. So we're very excited for all of the cities who got funding for their projects today.
Bravo.
Yeah, Vice Mayor Shipley, mazel tov. I think that's everything. I think our last item is other business. Is there anything that needs to be brought up here? Anyone needs to discuss?
I don't know of anything.
Yeah, Vice Mayor, not seeing anything. Our next meeting looks like is March 18th, unless I guess Jessica tells us otherwise.
Nope, Jessica Mortinger, Transportation Planning Manager. I think, that's what's on our calendar. We'll see where we get to in terms of needing meetings. I included in the facts I mentioned earlier in the chat if you wanted to copy that about diverging diamonds. That was just my quick Google search for you. So in case you need that for future reference.
Very cool.
I'm sure I'll have to talk to some neighbors about it, so thank you.
Yes.
And Allison's KDOT planning. The closest one here, if you do want to go drive-through one, is on K10 and it's in Lenexa, I believe. If you want to go test them out, they are a little intimidating at first, but once you get used to it, they are very smooth driving and pretty cool. So
Allison, it says West 95th and I-35.
That's one of them. There is one right before you get into the Johnson County area. I'm just blanking on the interchange right now, but it's right when you get into the Olathe area.
Okay. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Shipley. Yeah, thank you. I guess I want to thank everyone for helping me get through this first meeting. I appreciate it. And Jessica and Ashley, of course, thank you for all your work. I do also want to give a shout out to Kurt, who I can't see, but I know he's making this available to the public, which is really important. So I guess thank you all. Okay. Does anyone have a motion?
We generally just, once the meeting's done via Robert rules, we are really informal. So we just adjourn. And everybody always asks me if we can do that. And I go back and read Robert's rules all the time to make sure, yes, we can do that. It's in Robert's rules.
Very good. Thank you so much for telling me that. All right. I guess we'll see everyone later. Stay safe, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Rob.